on up. She's a licensed clinical professional counselor and board certified art therapist, and she's going to talk to us about the transformative power of art. Thank you, Susie. Everybody give her a hand.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm going to start off with a coping skill, which is when you are feeling an emotion, especially something like fear or anxiety, when you name it, you can move through it more easily. So I'm going to hope that that works for me. There's a cool research study about people who are afraid of spiders, and if they were able to name what they were feeling, they were able to actually move closer to the spider. So depart that and also just kind of show that I really like research, and I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to art therapy and research and neuroscience. So I'm going to just give some perspectives of why art is so transformative. But I want to start with naming that we know why because of our lived experience. And really that's enough evidence, is our stories and our experiences. Mine, everyone sitting up here, and everyone in the audience as well. So I wanted to start and see, by a raise of hands, who in the audience, either yourself, has witnessed the transformative power of art, or have witnessed it in someone else? Go ahead and raise your hands. Wow. I think that is the evidence, right, in all of our lived experiences. So I'm going to just share some additional perspectives. I want to start with art history. Humans have been making art, actually kind of our prehistoric ancestors, since the Paleolithic period. And there's this idea that our brains are actually predictive machines. They help us to plan and anticipate what's coming next. And this is really good for survival, right? If we need to hunt and gather and survive, we want our brains to think about the future. Art actually helped our earliest humans survive. We have cave paintings where they were able to depict the animals they were hunting, and it was a way to document what was happening and communicate to others. And the reality is, not all prehistoric humans made it, but they had hopes that if they documented their experiences, perhaps others would survive. We can still see those paintings made from 45,000 BC today. Neither of these two images show them, but I wanted to start there and just show how art can help us to, one, survive, right? Art has helped me survive. I think I'm here today because of the power of art. And it helps us to imagine and hope and persevere. And so that's what we learned from our prehistoric ancestors. And kind of to jump to even ancient Egypt, in art we see hieroglyphics as this symbolic communication system. And we also see them really grappling with issues of existential nature, right? Death and afterlife, how to create order, how to also create mastery, right? And I think we see art as a means of survival, as a means of coping with existential nature. And also, I think if we kind of fast forward, we're in 5,000 BC right now. We're going to go to the 16th century in Japanese art. This is a practice. Does anyone know what this is? Okay, cool, a few people. So this is a practice called kitsugi, and it's when a pottery object has been broken, and it's actually repaired with all the original pieces with a lacquer, and then it's on the outside brushed with gold where the fractures happened. And it's a way to honor the object's history, actually make it more beautiful and stronger. And I think this is a beautiful metaphor for how our history, what we go through, actually can make us stronger, more beautiful, and we can persevere with a new vision and hope for an object, right? Rather it being discarded. And so again, the brain is a predictive machine. And so when we use creativity, we use the best parts of the brain being a predictive machine. We imagine that we could make something that's broken and still use it and make it so beautiful. So I've already kind of shared a little bit about the brain being a predictive machine and how creativity can really help us to harness that. Here are some other just insights that we get from the field of neuroaesthetics, which is neuroscience and the art and study of creativity, both in making and viewing art. Art activates all parts of our brain. It also activates our sensory and kinesthetic experiences. It activates our emotions, right? the frontal lobe that's engaged in learning and processing, and even the brain's reward circuit. So there's a lot going on in the process of art making. Art also helps to support neuroplastic change. One of the great things about art making is that we are engaged in the process. It's hands-on, it's experiential, and it's rewarding. So we want to repeat it. And when we repeat something that's good for us, it makes change in the brain. Actually, we have studies, mostly from looking at dementia and stroke rehabilitation and art therapy, that shows that art can actually create new neurons. If you know anything about neuroscience, that's pretty cool to create new neurons through art. How am I doing on time? Anybody got a couple minutes? Okay. I'm just going to share these two art therapy research studies. One looks at cortisol levels in about 40 participants when they were with an art therapist in a studio setting making art. And the findings showed that cortisol levels before and after art making were significantly reduced. And I really want to highlight this last part of the study, which was there was no difference between people who identified as artists and those who did not, and how it lowered the cortisol. So every single person in this room, art has the potential to decrease our stress. You do not have to identify as an artist. And then this second research study shows that art can be rewarding. It activates increased blood flow to the brain's reward center. I think this one really, again, supports the neuroplastic change. Why do we do art? One, because our brain finds it rewarding. And then I think also because it's wired into our neurobiology as humans, right? Earliest humans needed creativity to survive. It's innate. We are meant to create. Okay, what is the most important to share? I'm just gonna maybe end on this slide, which names a bunch of different ways that art can be helpful. I also want to name that art can be helpful. You don't need an art therapist, and I say that as an art therapist. If you can access one and you want to seek art therapy, awesome, try it out. If not, you could all access art making right now with a paper and a pen in front of you. Yeah, so we see here lots of many ways that even prehistoric humans, ancient Egyptians, right, and Japanese kitsugi artists would have even used many of these processes to help in transformation, healing, survival, and coping with our existential nature. I'm going to maybe just fast forward to this one last quote that's by a kitsugi artist. It says, "In repairing the object, you really ended up loving it more because you now knew its eagerness to be reassembled. And in running a fingertip over its surface, you alone could feel its many cracks. A bond stronger than mere possession." When someone is healing through art, they're healing through something they've made themselves. How empowering is that? Right? I'm both a talk therapist and an art therapist, and I love talk therapy, and I think it can be awesome. And I love witnessing when people heal and transform through their own art making, because they get to take that out of the room. They also have the art product that exists to tell the story of their lives and their healing. So art is pretty dang cool. I'm gonna end there.
Thank you very much, Susie. That was great. Thank you so much. And next, and our final speaker here is Lynn Schmidt. And Lynn is an LC, let me see, I saw it right here, LMSW, and a queer neurodivergent grandchild of a Holocaust survivor. She is a real survivor herself. And so thank you very much. Come on up here, Lynn. Lynn Schmidt, everybody.
Give me just 2 seconds to get Zoe settled. I apologize. Okay, so hello. I am Lynn Schmidt, and I am presenting on Poetry in Recovery. I have a pretty substantial background in mental health, more specifically in mental illness. So yes, I am a therapist. I am also someone who has post-traumatic stress disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, depression. I have also struggled for most of my life with an eating disorder. It is in remission. It's been in remission for about 6 years now, which is wonderful. Thank you. Oh, thank you. And I am also a person who all of these identities collided in 2011 when I found myself with an unwanted pregnancy. I was unaware at the time that suicide is actually one of the leading causes of pregnant people in the United States right now, and I was almost one of those statistics. To this end, I didn't know that my story was going to end this year with a somewhat emergency hysterectomy. So I find that poetry becomes a place of healing, to explore these really tough topics and say, what have I survived and how am I still here? So I'm going to share 4 poems with you. The first poem is called Text the Day of an Active Shooter. I am part of the Lewiston-Auburn community in the state of Maine, which is now listed as one of the 10 deadliest mass shootings in the United States. You can hear me kind of choking up, and Zoe's trying to get me out of here because I'm destabilizing a little bit, but that's okay. We lost 18 members of our community between 2 different venues, and it was very difficult. This poem was written literally the following day. This is kind of a smushing together of the texts that I received that night as a member of the community. So, text the day of an active shooter. You're safe, right? You're not in the LA area. You're safe. What happened? We were at the bowling alley. I tied a kid's arm off. He was bleeding a lot. I hid my kids under a desk and barricaded the door with another mom. What the actual fuck? Jesus Christ, this world is insane. I'm so sorry this happened near you. Hey, are you in Lewiston, Maine right now? I saw on the news there's an active shooter in that area. Are you okay and are you safe? Yes. We are all safe, and I still love you even when you hate me. Hey boss, how are you holding up? I saw your tweet about the stories rolling in from friends of friends, and I remember having the same experience after the Pulse shooting. I just wanted to check on you and see if you need anything. Yeah, her husband was called in. He's the supply room manager, and they needed all of the body bags he had. They had 16, and they're still getting more. My closest friend's husband was shot. I wish he just killed himself instead of this shit. I literally think I might throw up. They haven't found him yet. They haven't found him yet. They haven't found him yet. Are you safe? Are you okay? I wrote this poem, as I said, the following day of this shooting. There was still an active manhunt happening, and Zoe and I had evacuated to Maryland. We had a poetry reading the following day, and I was sitting in my hotel room still just like rocking on my bed and being like, how could this happen in my community? Oh my God, we still didn't have the total count of who all was injured. People were still reunifying with their people. And this was a way that helped me cope with it, to just look at all of the text messages of people who loved me and wanted to make sure that I was okay in this. And so this is an arena where we continue to talk about the healing power of poetry and how it gives us a vessel for those really big feelings. I am also someone who lost someone to COVID-19 and was at their bedside. So this poem is called The Wedding Ring, and it is for my Auntie Terry. I sit with my dead aunt's body for nearly 2 hours. When people talk about being haunted, I wonder if what they mean is that the absence of breath after focusing on it for 6 hours. I wonder if they mean the way the fever takes 20 minutes to leave the body. I wonder if it's the way the nurse asks me if I'd like to remove her rings or wait for the mortician. At first, because I don't want to touch her once all of the warmth is gone, I say I'll wait. But as time moves forward, as she becomes colder, I worry her fingers will swell. I worry that if I don't do it now, they will have to break her fingers to get them off. I wonder when people talk about being haunted, if it's the way I removed her wedding ring from her cold, stiff hand, how there was one ring left that I could not slide off, how now, whenever I see a person wearing a ring, I wonder who will be the one to remove it. And I have also lost 3 of my pets now to cancer. I explore pet grief pretty readily. And so this poem was actually written about this moment pictured here with my girl Kyla Poopy Pants. And she was just enjoying the sunlight. She had no idea she was sick other than just slowing down. And so this poem is called, "Do I Just Let the Cancer Take You?" After the aspiration for the lump I found 2 days ago, the oncologist leaves me a voicemail saying, "Unfortunately, it does show criteria for malignancy, and it is likely related to her previous diagnosis." We have been here before. We've gotten the call and piece after piece removed, searching for the word remission that never seems to come. I cry in my office between patients, white tissues blanketing my desk. 2 days after the call, you wake up from a nap, cough 4 times, and I move fast enough to soften the landing as your body falls to the ground. I pet you and whisper soft words. "It's okay. It's okay. I'm right here. Catch your breath. I'm right here." My hands run along your stomach, and there are mountains beneath the skin, all the way from harness to groin. I imagine another surgery, the slice from chest to back leg, and the bruising and healing after. The oncologist said that surgery wouldn't be the wrong option, but she also didn't say that it would be the right one. And if you have seen me floating around, I have Zoe, who is my service dog. She was rescued from a farm in Tennessee, and following her rehab and just trying to get her comfortable around human beings and trash bags and all of the things she was terrified of, I noticed that we took a picture. It looked very similar to this one. And so this is how this poem was generated, an ode to the now versus then rescue dog photo, and very representative of the healing that can happen if we take time and give patience and create safe places, not only for us, but for the fur beings around us. The day you come home with me, you cower, tucking yourself so small I bite back tears and tell you I am so sorry for whatever happened. When I kneel down like a prayer, soft and gentle, offering the palms of my hands, you slowly come to me. I am cautious, careful to move at a fraction of the speed I would move with my own dogs. The first month, you run from people on our walkies. You don't know how to play with toys, how to sleep in a bed. When we give you a bath, the grime and dirt flows down the drain, covering the white bathtub, coloring it like a book. The first time you approach a stranger to say hi, I nearly sob because you trust that I will keep you safe. And when I come home, you jump into my arms now. When we go to bed at night, your face rests beside mine on the pillow. And so this is me. These are my collections of books. If anyone is interested, they are available on barnesandnoble.com as well as amazon.com. Also, if you email me, I would happily sign and mail you a copy as well if you are interested. But all of this is to say that I imagine every single person in this room has been through incredibly difficult things. And as Susie was just sharing, art gives us a place to put those, to explore that. You don't need to have a poet-focused therapist to be able to explore these emotions on your own. And I often find that once they are on the page, it leaves my body. And that way I continue to be safe and as stable as I can be. And thank you all for being here today.
Thank you, Lynn. I guess we got a few more minutes for a comment or a question or